The letter trembled in Riley's hands, its edges frayed as if it had been opened and folded 100 times. She stood frozen on the rooftop of their old apartment building, the city's hum a distant echo beneath the pounding in her chest. Her twin sister, Quinn, stood just feet away, but the space between them felt like a chasm carved by betrayal. Riley had always believed she and Quinn were two halves of the same soul. Growing up in a small Ohio town, they'd shared everything, secrets whispered under blankets, dreams of escaping their strict family, even the same crooked smile. But now, at 25, Riley stared at the woman who was supposed to be her mirror, and all she saw was a stranger. The letter had arrived that morning, slipped under her door in an unmarked envelope. Its contents were a knife to her heart. Quinn, her twin, had been hiding a truth that could destroy everything Riley held dear. It wasn't just a secret, it was a deliberate choice, one that threatened to unravel the life Riley had built with Lena, the woman she loved more than anything. Riley's breath hitched as she looked up, her hazel eyes locking onto Quinn's identical ones. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice cracked, raw with hurt. Quinn's lips parted, but no words came. The silence was worse than any excuse. They'd come to this rooftop to talk, to sort through the mess, but Riley could barely stand to look at her sister. The city sprawled below them, indifferent to their pain, its lights flickering like stars that refused to align. Riley's mind raced back to the beginning, to how this all started, how she'd fallen for Lena, how Quinn had been there every step of the way, and how it had all led to this moment of reckoning. 2 years earlier, Riley had met Lena at a Brooklyn bookstore. Lena was 26, with warm brown skin and curls that seemed to catch the light like a halo. She'd been shelving books, humming softly, when Riley, nervous and fumbling, asked for a recommendation. Lena's smile, bright, unguarded, had undone her. They talked for hours that day, and soon, coffee dates turned into late-night walks, then into stolen kisses under streetlights. Lena was everything Riley hadn't known she needed: fierce, kind, and unapologetically herself. Quinn had been thrilled at first. She'd teased Riley endlessly, calling Lena the one who finally tamed you. The three of them became inseparable, spending weekends exploring the city, laughing over cheap wine, and dreaming of a future where they could all be free from the shadows of their past. Riley and Quinn had left Ohio to escape their conservative family's disapproval of their identities, Riley as a lesbian, Quinn as bisexual. They'd promised to protect each other, to be each other's home. But somewhere along the way, Quinn had broken that promise. The letter in Riley's hand was proof. It wasn't just words on a page. It was evidence of a secret Quinn had kept for months. Lena's ex, Mia, had returned to New York, and Quinn had known. Worse, she'd met with Mia behind Riley's back, feeding her information about Riley and Lena's relationship. Mia, who had broken Lena's heart years ago, was back to claim what she thought was hers. And Quinn, for reasons Riley couldn't fathom, had helped her. Riley's voice shook as she spoke again. "You knew what Mia did to her. You saw how long it took Lena to trust again. And you still," she choked on the words, crumpling the letter in her fist. "Why, Quinn? What did I do to make you hate me this much?" Quinn's face crumpled, but she didn't step closer. "I don't hate you," she whispered. "I was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" Riley's laugh was bitter. "By lying. By helping Mia try to take Lena away from me." "It's not that simple," Quinn said, her voice barely audible over the wind. "There's more to it, Riley. Things you don't understand." "Then make me understand," Riley shouted, her voice echoing across the rooftop. A flock of pigeons scattered, their wings a fleeting distraction from the ache in her chest. She wanted to shake Quinn, to demand answers, but the weight of the betrayal anchored her in place. Quinn took a shaky breath, her eyes darting to the horizon. Mia came to me 6 months ago. She said she'd changed, that she wanted to make things right with Lena. I didn't believe her at first, but she had proof letters, photos, things from their past. She said Lena deserved to know the truth. What truth? Riley's heart thudded painfully. That Mia's a manipulative liar who left Lena when she needed her most. Quinn shook her head. It's not about Mia. It's about Lena. There's something she hasn't told you. Riley. Something big. Riley's stomach dropped. The world tilted, the city lights blurring as her mind raced. Lena, her Lena, had a secret. The woman who'd held her through panic attacks, who'd laughed with her until dawn, who'd promised to build a life together. Could she have been hiding something too? What are you talking about? Riley's voice was barely a whisper now, fear creeping into her anger. Quinn hesitated, her hands twisting together. I can't tell you. It's not my place. But I thought if Mia could get through to Lena, maybe it would force her to be honest with you. Riley's knees buckled, and she sank onto the bench, the carved sign digging into her thoughts like a splinter. The idea that Lena might be keeping something from her was a fresh wound. But Quinn's betrayal cut deeper. Her twin, her other half, had chosen to side with a stranger over her. The letter slipped from her fingers, fluttering to the ground like a confession neither of them could take back. Riley, Quinn said softly, stepping closer. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't know what else to do. Riley didn't look up. She couldn't. The weight of the moment pressed down on her, a choice looming like a storm on the horizon, her sister or her love, blood or heart. She didn't know how to choose, or if she even could. As the city darkened around them, Riley's thoughts drifted to the past, to the moments that had brought her here. She remembered the first time Lena had said, I love you, under a starlit sky in Central Park. She remembered Quinn's laughter, her fierce loyalty, the way they'd clung to each other through every storm. How had it come to this? How had the two people she trusted most become the ones tearing her apart? She stood, her legs unsteady, and faced Quinn. I need to talk to Lena, she said, her voice hollow. But this thing between us, I don't know if we can come back from it. Quinn's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. I'll be here, she said, if you need me. Riley turned away, the letter still lying on the ground. Its words burned into her mind. She didn't know what Lena was hiding, or why Quinn had chosen to keep it from her. But she knew one thing, the truth, whatever it was, would change everything. Riley's boots echoed on the stairwell as she descended from the rooftop, each step heavier than the last. The letter's words gnawed at her, a relentless whisper of doubt. Lena, her anchor, her light. Could she really be hiding something so big it justified Quinn's betrayal? The streets of Brooklyn were alive with the pulse of the night-honking cabs, laughter spilling from bars, the scent of street food lingering in the air. Riley barely noticed. Her phone burned in her pocket, tempting her to call Lena, to demand answers. But she needed to see her, to look into her eyes and find the truth. She hailed a cab, her heart racing as she gave Lena's address. Lena lived in a cozy apartment above a coffee shop, its windows glowing with string lights. Riley had spent countless nights there, wrapped in Lena's arms, feeling like the world couldn't touch them. Now, as she climbed the narrow stairs, each creak felt like a warning. She knocked, her knuckles hesitant against the door. Lena opened it, her face lighting up before faltering at Riley's expression. What's wrong? Her voice was soft, concerned. her curls framing her face like a question mark. She wore an oversized sweater, the kind Riley loved to steal, and the familiarity of it twisted the knife in her chest. "Can I come in?" Riley's voice was tight, barely her own. Lena stepped aside, her brow furrowing. The apartment smelled of jasmine and coffee, a warmth that usually soothed Riley. Tonight, it felt suffocating. She sat on the couch, her hands clasped tightly, while Lena hovered nearby, sensing the storm. "Riley, talk to me," Lena said, sitting across from her. Her brown eyes searched Riley's, full of worry. Did something happen with Quinn? Riley's throat tightened. She pulled the crumpled letter from her pocket and slid it across the coffee table. "Read it." Lena's fingers hesitated before picking it up. As she read, her face shifted confusion, then fear, then something Riley couldn't name. "Where did you get this?" Lena's voice was low, almost a whisper. "It was under my door this morning," Riley said. "Quinn's been meeting with Mia. She's been helping her, Lena. And she says you're keeping something from me." Lena's eyes widened, her hands trembling as she set the letter down. "Riley, don't lie to me," Riley cut in, her voice sharp. "Not now. Not after everything." Lena's shoulders sagged, and for the first time, Riley saw something new in Hera's flicker of guilt. It was enough to make her heart stutter. "I didn't want to hurt you," Lena said, her voice breaking. "I was going to tell you. I swear. I didn't know how." "Tell me what?" Riley leaned forward, her pulse pounding. What's so big that Quinn thought Mia was the answer? Lena stood, pacing the small living room, her hands twisting in her sweater. "It's about my past," she said finally. "Before I met you. Before I even came to New York." Riley waited, her breath shallow, as Lena stopped pacing and faced her. "I was married," Lena said, the words landing like a punch. "To a man. His name was David." Riley blinked, her mind struggling to process. Married? The word felt foreign. Impossible. Lena, her Lena, had been married to a man. The woman who'd spoken so openly about her identity, who'd fought so hard to live authentically. How could she have kept this hidden? "It was a long time ago," Lena said quickly, her voice pleading. "I was 19, scared, and trying to please my family. They didn't know I was queer. I didn't even fully know myself. David was safe. He was kind, but it wasn't love. Not the way I love you." Riley's chest ached, a mix of betrayal and confusion. "Why didn't you tell me? We've been together for 2 years. Lena. 2 years. And you never mentioned this." "I was ashamed," Lena admitted, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Not of who I am now, but of who I was then. I thought I could bury it, leave it behind. But Mia, she knew David. She was there when it all fell apart." Riley's mind reeled. Mia? Of course. Lena's ex, the one who'd left her broken, had known about this secret marriage. And Quinn had known too, somehow, and chosen to keep it from her. The pieces were falling into place, but they didn't make the pain any less sharp. "Did Quinn think Mia telling me would be better than you doing it?" Riley asked, her voice trembling. "Is that why she went behind my back?" Lena shook her head, wiping her eyes. "I don't know what Quinn was thinking. I didn't even know she was talking to Mia until now. But I should have told you myself. I was just scared you'd look at me differently." Riley wanted to scream, to cry, to hold Lena and push her away all at once. She loved this woman, loved her laugh, her strength, her heart, but this secret felt like a crack in the foundation of everything they'd built. and Quinn's role in it, her betrayal, was a wound that bled just as deeply. "I need time," Riley said, standing abruptly. "I need to think." Lena reached for her, but Riley stepped back, her heart breaking at the hurt in Lena's eyes. "Please, Lena whispered. "Don't shut me out." "I'm not," Riley said, though it felt like a lie. I don't know who to trust right now." She left the apartment, the door clicking shut behind her like a final note in a song she didn't want to end. The night air hit her face, cold and sharp, as she walked aimlessly through the city. Her mind was a tangle of questions. Why had Lena kept this from her? Why had Quinn chosen Mia over her? And what did it mean for the future she dreamed of? Riley found herself at a park, the same one where Lena had first said, "I love you." She sat on a bench, staring at the stars, and let the tears come. The weight of the choice pressed down on her sister, her twin, the person who'd been her constant through every storm, versus Lena, the love she'd fought so hard to find. Could she forgive either of them? Could she forgive herself if she had to let one go? Her phone buzzed. A text from Quinn. "I'm sorry. Can we talk?" Riley stared at it, her thumb hovering over the screen. She wanted answers, but she wasn't ready to face her sister again. Not yet. Instead, she typed a message to Lena. "I need space, but I'm not giving up on us." She hit send before she could overthink it, then shoved her phone back in her pocket. The night stretched on, and Riley sat there, caught between blood and love, wondering how she'd ever find her way forward. The park bench was cold beneath Riley, the night air biting at her exposed hands. She stared at the stars, their faint light a reminder of the promises she'd made with Lena in this very spot. But now, those promises felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter under the weight of secrets. Her phone buzzed again, another text from Quinn. "I know you're mad. I messed up. Please, let me explain." Riley's jaw tightened. She wanted to ignore it, to let her anger burn until it consumed the hurt. But a part of her, the part that still remembered Quinn's hand in hers during their darkest days, calmed, let go so easily. She stood, shoving her hands in her pockets, and started walking. The city was quieter now, the late hour thinning the crowds. Her feet carried her to a diner a few blocks away, one she and Quinn used to visit after long nights of dreaming about a life bigger than their small town. The neon sign flickered, casting a warm glow over the cracked pavement. Maybe here, in a place tied to their shared past, she could face her sister. Inside, the diner smelled of coffee and grease, its retro booths empty except for a lone trucker at the counter. Quinn was already there, tucked into their old corner booth, her fingers tracing patterns on a paper napkin. She looked up as Riley approached, her eyes red-rimmed and weary. "Thanks for coming," Quinn said softly, her voice barely above the hum of the jukebox. Riley slid into the booth, keeping her distance. "I'm here to listen," she said, her tone clipped. "So talk." Quinn took a deep breath, her hands trembling. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. When Mia first reached out, I thought she was just fishing for information, trying to stir up trouble. I told her to stay away from you and Lena." "Then why keep talking to her?" Riley's voice was sharp, cutting through the diner's warmth. "Why help her?" "I wasn't helping her," Quinn insisted. "I was trying to figure out what she knew. Mia, she's manipulative. Riley. She had this way of twisting things, making me think I was doing the right thing. She showed me proof mails, photos that Lena's marriage wasn't just a mistake. There was more to it, something Lena's been hiding from everyone." Riley's stomach twisted. "What do you mean? More to it?" Quinn hesitated, her eyes darting away. "David, Lena's ex-husband, He didn't just leave her. There was a kid. The words hit Riley like a freight train. A child. Lena had a child. Her mind reeled, trying to reconcile the woman she loved with this new, impossible truth. A kid. She whispered, her voice breaking. Lena has a child, and you didn't tell me. I didn't know how, Quinn said, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mia told me a few months ago. She had pictures Lena with a little girl, maybe 3 years old, from before you met her. Mia said Lena gave her up, that she walked away to start over in New York. I didn't want to believe it, but the photos, they were real. Riley's hands clenched into fists, her nails digging into her palms. Why didn't you come to me? We're supposed to be a team, Quinn. You and me against the world. I know, Quinn said, her voice raw. But I was scared. Scared you'd hate Lena if you knew. Scared you'd hate me for telling you. I thought if I could get Mia to back off, if I could handle it myself, you'd never have to deal with this. Riley laughed, a hollow sound that echoed in the empty diner. Handle it. You let Mia manipulate you, and now I'm the one picking up the pieces. Quinn flinched, but she didn't look away. I'm so sorry, Ree. I thought I was protecting you. I thought if Lena told you herself, it would be better. But Mia kept pushing, saying she'd tell you if I didn't cooperate. I was stuck. Riley's chest ached, torn between rage and pity. Quinn looked so small, so broken, sitting there with her torn napkin and tear-streaked face. This was her twin, the person who'd shared her every secret, her every pain. But this betrayal, this choice to keep her in the dark felt like a wall between them. Did you think I couldn't handle the truth? Riley asked, her voice quieter now. That I'd just fall apart? No, Quinn said quickly. I know how strong you are. But I also know how much you love Lena. I didn't want to be the one to break that. Riley leaned back, her eyes drifting to the window where the city lights blurred into streaks of color. She thought of Lena, of the life they'd built, of the love that had felt unbreakable. A child. The idea was a wound she couldn't yet touch, but it changed everything. She needed to hear it from Lena, to understand why she'd kept this secret, why she'd let it fester until it tore them all apart. I need to see her, Riley said, standing. I need to know everything. Quinn nodded, wiping her eyes. Will you ever forgive me? Riley paused, her heart heavy. I don't know, she said honestly. But I'm not ready to lose you either. She left the diner, the bell above the door jingling softly behind her. The night felt colder now, the stars hidden behind clouds. Riley's mind was a storm of questions. But one thing was clear, she had to confront Lena, to demand the truth about this child, about the life Lena had left behind. As she walked toward Lena's apartment, her phone buzzed again. A text from Lena, I'm so sorry. Please come back. I'll tell you everything. Riley's heart clenched, a mix of hope and dread. She didn't know what she'd find when she faced Lena, but she knew it would test everything she thought she understood about love. The city moved around her, indifferent to her turmoil. Riley's steps quickened, driven by a need for answers, for clarity, for a way to hold on to the people she loved without losing herself. She didn't know if she could forgive Quinn, or if Lena's truth would break them. But she had to try. Riley stood outside Lena's apartment, the string lights in the window casting a soft glow on the sidewalk. Her heart pounded, each beat a reminder of the truths she was about to face. The revelation of a childhood daughter Lena had never mentioned felt like a betrayal as deep as Quinn's. But it was Lena's silence that cut the most. She knocked, and the door opened almost instantly. Lena stood there, her eyes swollen from crying, her sweater sleeves bunched in her fists. "You came back," she whispered, relief and fear mingling in her voice. "I need the truth," Riley said, stepping inside. The apartment felt different now, its warmth tainted by the weight of secrets. She sat on the couch, her hands clasped tightly, as Lena closed the door and sat across from her. Lena took a shaky breath, her eyes fixed on the floor. "I should have told you from the start," she said. "I was scared, Riley. Scared you'd see me as someone I'm not anymore." "Just tell me," Riley said, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "Tell me about the child." Lena's shoulders trembled, but she nodded. "Her name is Ava. She's 5 now. I had her when I was 20, during my marriage to David." Her voice cracked, and she paused, gathering herself. "I was so young, I didn't know who I was. My family pushed me into that marriage, thinking it would fix me. But it didn't. It broke me." Riley's chest tightened, a mix of sympathy and anger. "Why didn't you tell me?" 2 years. Lena. We've planned a life together, and you never mentioned a daughter." Lena's tears fell freely now. "Because I lost her," she said, her voice raw. "Not physically alive, with David's family in Chicago. But I gave up my rights. I walked away. It's the worst thing I've ever done, and I couldn't bear to tell you because I'm terrified you'll hate me for it." Riley's breath caught. The pain in Lena's voice was undeniable, but so was the sting of her secrecy. "Why did you walk away?" she asked, her voice softer now, searching for understanding. Lena wiped her eyes, her hands shaking. "David and I were falling apart. I was starting to understand who I was, that I couldn't live a lie anymore. But his family, they were powerful, wealthy. They didn't want a queer woman raising their granddaughter. They threatened to take Ava away completely, to paint me as unfit. I was 21, broke, and terrified. So I signed the papers. I thought it was the only way to give her a stable life." Riley's heart ached, torn between compassion and the weight of the truth. She could see the young Lena, trapped and alone, making an impossible choice. But the hurt of being kept in the dark lingered. "And Mia?" Riley asked. "How does she fit into this?" Lena's jaw tightened. "Mia was my first love, before David. We were together in college, but she left me when things got hard. She knew about Ava because we were still in touch back then. When she came back to New York, she started digging, trying to use Ava to get to me. I didn't know she was talking to Quinn until you showed me that letter." Riley's mind spun. Mia's manipulation, Quinn's secrecy, Lena's hidden past it was a web of betrayals, each one pulling at the threads of her life. "Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Did you think I'd leave you?" Lena reached for her hand, and this time, Riley didn't pull away. "I was afraid you'd see me as a failure," Lena said, "as someone who abandoned her own child. I love you so much, Riley. I didn't want to lose you." Riley's throat burned with unshed tears. She wanted to hold Lena, to erase the pain in her eyes, but the weight of the truth held her back. "I don't know how to process this," she admitted. "I love you, but this changes things. I need to understand what it means for us." Lena nodded, her grip tightening on Riley's hand. "I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. I want to be honest with you, completely. I've been trying to reconnect with Ava, to be part of her life again. I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure I could face her myself." Riley's heart stuttered. "You're trying to see her again?" "Yes," Lena said, her voice steadier now. I've been talking to David's family. It's slow, and they're resistant, but I want to know her. I want her to know me. And I want you to be part of that, if you're willing." The words hung between them, a fragile bridge over the chasm of their pain. Riley wanted to say yes, to promise she'd be there, but the hurt was still raw. She thought of Quinn, of the diner conversation, of the sister who'd tried to protect her in the worst way possible. She thought of Ava, a little girl caught in the crossfire of choices made long ago. "I need time," Riley said finally, pulling her hand away. "I want to be with you, Lena. I want to believe we can get through this. But I need to figure out how to trust you again." Lena's face crumpled, but she nodded. "I understand. I'll wait, Riley. As long as it takes." Riley stood, her legs heavy, and moved toward the door. "I'll call you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just need to clear my head." Outside, the city was a blur of lights and noise, but Riley felt alone in it. She walked, her thoughts a tangle of love and loss. Lena's confession had cracked open a part of her she hadn't known existed, a part that wanted to understand, to forgive, but wasn't sure how. And Quinn, her twin, her mirror was still out there, waiting for her own forgiveness. Riley found herself at the edge of the East River, the water dark and restless. She thought of the choice she faced, blood or love, loyalty to her sister or the future she dreamed of with Lena. Maybe it wasn't about choosing one over the other. Maybe it was about finding a way to hold on to both, even if it hurt. Her phone buzzed. "Quinn again. I'm at the diner. I'll wait as long as you need." Riley stared at the message, her heart heavy but not empty. She wasn't ready to face her sister, but she wasn't ready to let her go either. The path forward was unclear, but for the first time, Riley felt a flicker of hope that she could find it. The East River glittered under the city lights, its surface rippling with secrets of its own. Riley stood at its edge, her breath visible in the cool night air, her mind a battlefield of love and betrayal. She'd left Lena's apartment with more questions than answers, but the weight of Lena's truth in Quinn's role in it pushed her toward a decision she wasn't sure she could make. Her phone buzzed again, Quinn's message glowing on the screen. Riley's thumb hovered, then typed a reply, "Meet me at the river. By the old pier." She needed to see her sister, to face the fracture between them and decide if it could be mended. She needed to know if love, any kind of love, could survive this. Quinn arrived 10 minutes later, her breath quick, her face pale under the streetlights. "You came," she said, her voice small but hopeful. Riley nodded, her hands stuffed in her pockets. "I talked to Lena. She told me about Ava." Quinn's eyes widened, then softened with relief. "She told you everything." "Enough," Riley said, her voice steady but heavy. "She told me about the marriage, the child, why she walked away. And she told me you were trying to protect me, in your own messed up way." Quinn's shoulders slumped, tears welling in her eyes. "I never wanted to hurt you, Ree. I thought I was doing the right thing, keeping Mia at bay, trying to get Lena to come clean. But I screwed it up. I should have trusted you to handle it." Riley looked out at the river, its dark water a mirror for her thoughts. "You should have," she said. "But I get it. You were scared. So was Lena. So am I." Quinn stepped closer, hesitant. "Can we fix this? You and me." Riley's chest ached, the familiar pull of their twin bond warring with the sting of betrayal. "I want to," she said. "But it's not just about us anymore. It's about Lena, too. And Ava." Quinn nodded, wiping her eyes. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know," Riley admitted. I love her. Quinn. Even after all this, I love her. But I need to know if I can trust her again. And I need to know if I can trust you. Quinn's face crumpled, but she didn't look away. I'll do whatever it takes to earn that back. I swear. Riley wanted to believe her, wanted to bridge the gap that had opened between them. But trust, she was learning, was a fragile thing, rebuilt slowly and with care. She turned back to the river, letting the silence stretch between them. The next morning, Riley met Lena at the coffee shop below her apartment. The air smelled of fresh espresso, and Lena sat at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a mug. She looked up as Riley approached, her eyes cautious but warm. "Thanks for coming," Lena said, her voice soft. "I wasn't sure you would." Riley sat, her heart pounding. "I needed to see you. To figure this out." Lena nodded, her fingers tracing the rim of her mug. "I meant what I said last night. I want to be part of Ava's life, and I want you to be part of it too. But I understand if you need to walk away." Riley's throat tightened. Walking away wasn't what she wanted, not from Lena, not from the life they'd dreamed of. But the path forward was messy, full of unknowns. "I don't want to lose you," she said finally. "But I need to know you won't keep things from me again, no matter how hard they are." "I promise," Lena said, her eyes locking onto Riley's. "No more secrets. I'll tell you everything about Ava, about my past, about what comes next. I want us to face it together." Riley reached across the table, her hand finding Lena's. The warmth of her touch was a reminder of why she'd fallen in love, why she'd fought for this. "I want that too," she said. "But it's going to take time. And I need to see you try with Ava, with being honest." Lena squeezed her hand, tears glistening in her eyes. "I will. I'm already working on it. I've got a meeting with David's family next week. They're letting me see her, just for a visit. Will you? Will you come with me?" Riley's heart skipped. Meeting Ava, stepping into Lena's past it, was a leap, but one she wanted to take. "Yeah," she said, her voice steady. "I'll be there." They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of their promises settling around them. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Riley thought of Quinn, of the conversation by the river, and knew she'd need to rebuild that bond too. Blood and love, they didn't have to be at odds. Maybe, with time, she could hold on to both. A week later, Riley and Lena boarded a train to Chicago. The journey was quiet, their hands intertwined, the future uncertain but not empty. When they arrived, Ava was waiting, a small girl with Lena's curls and a shy smile. Lena knelt, tears streaming down her face, and Riley stood beside her, her heart full. Back in New York, Riley met Quinn at their old rooftop. The city sprawled below, its lights brighter now, like a promise of healing. "I'm trying," Riley said, her voice soft but sure. "With Lena. With you. I want us to be okay." Quinn hugged her, the embrace fierce and familiar. "We will be," she whispered. "We're twins. We always find our way back." Riley smiled, the first real smile in weeks. The road ahead was long, but she wasn't walking it alone. Love, whether for her sister or her partner, wasn't about perfection. It was about choosing to stay, to fight, to forgive. And as the city hummed around them, Riley knew she'd made her choice, not between blood or love, but for both, together.